Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Join me today. I welcome two very special guests hailing from Des Moines, Iowa. We got Mark and Colin from the band Balefire. How y'all doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Not too bad. And I guess to talk about the band a little bit here, I guess, are you guys strictly more of a cover band or do you do like your own sort of music?
Yeah, no, basically all original. We pad with an occasional cover here and there, but yeah, no, basically all original.
Yeah, every once in a while we start losing the crowd. You got to pull out when they know, once they get sick of our stuff.
We'll say you have to go into doing like a Kiss sort of cover too, maybe Detroit Rock City.
We've never done that one. I'm sure our singer would love it, but
yeah,
it's an idea at least too. So
there we go.
Like I started that, how you guys been? What's new?
Been well. We're currently in the process of recording some new material. We've got some songs that we're working on. We're actually almost done with one, and have a few others we need to get done to kind of get an EP out there. But so that's kind of been really the main thing right now is just trying to get some music to really blast out there.
I'm sure Mark wasn't throwing anything, but all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. But I guess you guys get to elaborate on your music here in just a little bit too. So, Mark and Colin, I want to welcome you both to my podcast. And the way this is going to work is I'm just going to ask you guys some questions. Let's get to know you guys more, both as the musicians, but also as the individuals as well too. So, hope you guys got time to review the questions. You all ready?
Yeah,
go for it.
Ready to go.
All right. I guess first off, who's the oldest? Because I guess we'll go by seniority, and then we'll just jump back and forth that way.
Well, I guess I'm going first.
Yeah, Mark's older than me.
Well, he's got the facial hair too, so I think that makes him look a lot older than he should
Right.
be.
Yeah,
That's why I grew it.
I was going to say, Colin, you look like you probably still get carded even without all the facial hair.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Right. But nonetheless, too. Let's start with this one. So I guess, Mark, tell us a little about yourself. I guess, how did you become a musician? I guess, what role do you play in the band?
Yeah, rhythm guitar, a little bit of backup vocals here and there. But yeah, no, me and our bass player, Dan, got started together when we were probably 12, 13, something like that. Friend of his older brother, friend of ours, taught us a few licks, and then we kind of taught ourselves tablature and just kind of blind leading the blind from there on out. But yeah, personally, I've been in and out of a few bands. These guys I played with off and on most of my life in some way, shape, or form. But did a couple of heavier metal bands. Last band I was in, playing bass down in Drop G. And I spent a little time actually as a street performer. Did a little bit around here in Iowa, mostly around the ISU campus there for a few years until one day I said, the heck with it. Bought a one-way plane ticket out to Vegas, packed a bag, grabbed my acoustic, and went out there for about 2-3 months, something like that. And within a week, broke my acoustic, had an electric or a couple electrics shipped out to me, bought a battery-powered PA system, got a little pedal board set up, and for about a month and a half, 2 months, I was the only metal performer on the Vegas Strip as far as street performer was concerned. But yeah, I could probably go on for hours just on the crap I've seen out there. Like I say, I've seen a lot of things I can never unsee, both good and bad. But yeah, no, keep going back. I don't know. I'm so grateful to have these guys. Out of everybody I played with off and on over the years, like this is the tightest crew I've ever had. Like everybody in the band writes, everybody brings something to the table. I just love these guys. And yeah, after going through kind of a rough patch there and kind of going away from music for a few years, these guys talked me into, well, I went out to see one of their shows, and yeah, they talked me to come back, and that was, 2 years ago now? Almost exactly, actually. But yeah, that's pretty much everything in a nutshell anyway.
You got some other questions, but I guess, Colin, let's hear your story.
Sure. So I'm kind of the odd man out in terms of I'm the only non-Iowa native. So I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. So that's when I started playing music, and I played in a couple bands there, and then I came to Des Moines in 2014. I came to study music professionally at Drake University in Des Moines, and I met Ezra, our lead singer, in a different band, and we jammed together for a bit in that band. And I think him and I both had some creative differences. They were primarily a cover band, and we both obviously wanted to write original music and stuff like that. So, and Ezra was also already involved with the Balefire group, so he kind of pulled me into that, and yeah, the rest is history. I ended up staying here and loved the Des Moines area. Got a job here and stayed here. Got married and all that good stuff. But yeah, I would echo everything Mark said. That this current lineup stuff, I like the best band I've played in terms of just enjoyment, and just talent, and we all are pretty like-minded in what we want to accomplish, which is really beneficial. And then I play lead guitar. I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's my role in the band. So
we got both guitar players on tonight's episode.
Both guitar players.
Yeah, that's all good though too.
No, and just to elaborate too. Speaking of just how well we meshed together, when I came back and we started focusing on originals. I mean, most of what we play right now, we wrote within the first 3 months, if that. I mean, there was kind of a time there where we were practically pumping out a song every practice, or at least the foundation of it. And yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely having like close, tight-knit sort of groups. Those are always probably the best ones, as you're able to like share your ideas, and then everyone contributes in some sort of way there too. So actually, Mark, going back to what you were talking about with Vegas, so I guess I actually was there a couple years ago, and actually we stayed in the Four Seasons, which was the Mandalay Hotel or whichever one it was. So I guess how close were you to that one? I guess how was it?
Well, let's put it this way: where the Vegas Sphere is now was about a half a block away from my apartment. So I mean, I was right behind the strip, right behind the Ferris wheel, essentially. In fact, it's so funny just to see pictures now, or Google Maps of that area. Like my side of the street is pretty much exactly the same, but on that side, you've beautiful golf course, the Sphere now. I mean, I used to carry, like $2,000 worth of gear down was essentially a dark alley going through there. I mean, I always thought it was kind of amazing that I made it without ever getting robbed or anything. So that was definitely the sketchiest spot that I used to walk through. And now it's one of the glitziest areas there.
So me and my parents have worked up a good tab at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, which is where the New Paris is.
Right on.
Still good steak, good food and everything too, but good God almighty, was that quite a hole in my dad's wallet. So
the food is what I miss most, especially the sushi. Being from Iowa, I don't give very many opportunities for good sushi.
I have to say, I never really understood Vegas, to be honest too. Like, you're just going there and wasting your money, to be honest.
I always tell everybody, go down the strip, take a look at the pretty lights, and then go about a half mile off the strip. Everything's cheaper. Everything. I mean, the food's better. Everything is better. You just got to know where to look, really.
That's true. Actually, I do remember one guy, when me and my parents were walking, the guy like flashed a photo of his girl flashing her hooters and everything too. So it was like coming to the strip joint something. So.
Oh yeah.
But I guess what can you think of a funny memory? Maybe just one right off the top of your head?
Yeah. My first day actually going out to check out the strip, like, just got settled into, for the first few days, was just a hotel. But first time I walked up with my guitar in my hand, I ran into a street performer just around the corner from the strip. And one of the most unique people I've ever met in my life. He was a hardcore heroin addict, homeless, lived in the tunnels. Just him and his dog, who hated everybody except for me for some reason. But he did teach me a lot about working with crowds and whatnot. He had one song. I've never heard him play anything other than this one song that he wrote. that I'm not sure if I even say exactly what it was about on here, but doing drugs and I mean, it was pretty graphic. Let's put it that way. And no matter who walked by, it didn't matter if it was, you know, somebody looked like they were on like their bachelor party, a businessman, maybe a couple. Like for instance, a couple walked by and, hey, can I sing you a love song? And you play this one song. Didn't matter what the situation was. Dude was hilarious, but I don't know. It definitely was a interesting introduction into the differences between being surrounded by cornfields my whole life, and then suddenly I'm spending most of my time with the homeless population out there, and you know, really seeing some stuff. You know, the worst were the kids, the runaways and whatnot. But like I said, as bad as the things I've seen, you know, I mean, the very first night I went out there, I watched one of the Bourne movies getting filmed right on the strip, a chase scene where were driving up into a casino, like for that full first week watching that. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I ramble.
Yep. Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
Yeah.
as they would like to say. So,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, had fun though, but really I don't see much of the point of just doing, unless it's like a good number of friends that maybe go around a poker table and just do blackjack or Texas Hold'em, as I like to normally play with some friends of mine.
Yeah, everyone asks me if I gambled out there, and I gambled once. I bet $3 and walked out with $5.
So you won something. It's all good. So, Colin, can you elaborate who else is a part of the band and what their roles are?
Sure. So we've got, so like I said, Ezra is our lead singer. We have Dan Cooper is our bassist, and I think he's known as they've known each other for just kind of like Mark for almost all their lives through growing up in the same area. And then Steve is our kind of elder statesman. He has more experience probably than all of us combined in terms of playing music live. He spent some time in Colorado, and I think he's toured at some point as well in his earlier days, and this has kind of been his I don't want to say retirement project, but I think like a different kind of a different angle to his career, because a lot of the stuff I did, you know, back in like the 80s and 90s was like, you know, kind of your hair metal, glam metal, that kind of stuff, whereas we kind of go a little bit of a different direction. But you know, just an immensely talented drummer, and just has accumulated just a lot of really cool experience over the years. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of the group.
We got that much down. So I guess wants to elaborate on history. I guess, Mark, do you want to elaborate on the history of Balefire? Like, where'd you get the name?
Really, you'd have to talk to Ezra about that for the most part. But I believe, not to butcher his, there's meaning behind, or more meaning behind it. But he got it from his favorite book. Yeah, I'd like to say more, but honestly, you'd have to talk to him about that one.
All right, but nonetheless, I guess when did you join? And I guess if you want to elaborate on more of the history of the group, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been in and out of it a few times. We've been through several iterations over the years. Other than the core members in it now, there's been 3 other guitar players that have come in and out. Yeah, I've quit and came back a couple times. I think at one point I quit one day and came back literally the next day. But yeah, no, Ezra, myself, Dan, we all went to school together. So, I mean, we've known each other forever. Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask if you guys did go to school together. So that was a big one there too. So I guess, Colin, how would you describe like the genre of the group? Do you guys mess around with various genres to form the sound that is Balefire?
You know, I'd say we're kind of a combination of nu metal, metalcore, with a splash of hair metal in there. You know, I think in terms of if I had to liken us to like some, you know, big name bands or some of the, I guess, some influences, you know, I'd say Disturbed, Bullet for My Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, not little bit of slip, more Stone Sour if we're gonna kind of go the Corey Taylor route. We definitely Ezra is a very talented singer. So I'd say most of our music is probably 2/3, if not more, clean vocals, and then with some crunchy vocals as well. And then Mark does all of our low end, kind of growls and things like that. So we really kind of run the gamut of just metal in general, hard rock and metal. I get a lot of my influence from Avenged. So like a lot of my kind of stylings are more of the like melodic harmonies and overtones and things like that. So yeah, we all really have a unique but also similar taste and style to where like we gel together, but like Mark's kind of said earlier, we all bring something kind of different. I think that's just kind of why it works. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned about Slipknot too. And actually, I think Corey Taylor's now doing something for another group right now. It's not Stone Sour anymore. And I checked it out when I was at the gym last night. And not to get off topic, but I guess is there like a specific spot or like Corey's old house that he grew up in, they kind of make that into like a little tourist destination for metalheads since they're out of Des Moines, Iowa?
I don't know about that, but the main venue that we play has a lot of history with not only Slipknot, but that whole new metal wave, just the whole music scene in general of Des Moines in the late 90s, 2000s. It was Harry Mary's, Colin?
Yep.
Right? Harry Mary's before, and then they had moved from a different location. It's not necessarily the location that they really got started in, but Clown himself owned this building there for a while when they moved over. Yeah, that's staple of the whole scene.
Yeah, for sure. And you asked about, tour. This is more of a kind of, I guess, darker or more morbid one, but Paul Gray is buried here. So a lot of people, go to his gravesite and leave flowers or memorabilia and stuff like that. So there's, that's that side of it as well.
Yeah. Hey, rest in peace too. He was taken away too soon.
Honestly.
Actually, I was going to say, did they bury Joey Jordison in Des Moines as well?
I'm not sure about that one, to be honest.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I feel like I should know that.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, nonetheless, though, too. And those were two of the original founders. It was Clown, Paul Gray, and Joey Jordison. That's how they started off.
Yep.
People know the history, too. It was the Pale Ones originally, and then they kept bringing everybody in. It was like one thing after another, and before you know it, here's Slipknot.
Yep.
So Colin, I know you mentioned about influences. So I guess, Mark, who would you say was a big influence? And I guess if you want to list any other ones, go ahead.
Yeah, personally, I came from that new metal scene myself. Like those are my idols growing up. It was always locals and foreign bands. Northern Europe, Rammstein, Dimmu Borgir, all that. And then my biggest influence were local bands like Face Cage, Index Case, Down the Sun was probably my biggest influence. And then later I got, luckily got to meet, a few of the guys here and there. But yeah, mostly that. But I'm all over the place myself. I listen to a lot of alternative and just all kinds of weird stuff. Right now I'm kind of in a Japanese pop metal kind of phase right now. But
That's why I mentioned about Japanese pop metal. Pop metal. There we go too. I was kind of getting that mixed up there. It was Hanabi, right? Hanabi is one of those.
That's the biggest one I'm into. Them and a couple others I can't pronounce. But yeah, no, Hanabi was the one that got me hooked on them in general. Randomly came across them, and I just kind of had to start doing a deep dive.
He's committed then to the foreign Japanese style.
I just love mixing genres in general. I've joked for years that my ultimate goal as a musician to eventually become kind of like the metal version of Beck, where every song on the album sounds like it should be on a different album. Yeah, just all over the place.
A blend of emotions. That talks about this and that too. So along those lines, yeah, I can see what you mean. So talk about that. So I guess let's jump into COVID a little bit here. So I guess, Colin, I guess you can go first here. I guess how bad did COVID impact you, your family, and music-wise?
You know, for me personally, you know, I was blessed to be able to, you know, I kept my job and everything, so I wasn't hugely affected by it from a personal standpoint. From a band standpoint, you know, I think we definitely took a little bit of time off during the super like the heat of it, where it was really bad. But otherwise, you know, we just, I mean, to a certain extent, I think you just have to kind of be mindful of, you know, if one of us isn't feeling well, we don't practice. We're not trying to get each other sick and things like that. So I would say it affected us, not in a huge way or detrimental way. You know, other than maybe we, you know, missed more practices than normal, and we took a bit of a break there for a little bit. Like I said, while everything was kind of, you know, scary and in the height of it. And then obviously, you know, I mean, it goes without saying, when bars and venues are closed, I mean, the live shows aren't really happening. So we didn't have a lot of shows there for a while. So we had to get creative. We did some Facebook lives, you know, and trying to connect with our audience and our fan base virtually, and just to stay relevant and stay, you know, that's the biggest thing, right? Is when you can't play out, you know, you just got to make sure people don't forget about you. And so social media is a great tool for that. And I think we, you know, we're able to come out on the other side in a pretty good position. So.
All right, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as the band concerned, I was, for the most part, I wasn't playing music at all during that time. The band I was in last, I ended up leaving to, for personal reasons, take care of things at home. Had a lot on my plate at the time. But yeah, the company I was working for an outdoor recreation facility at the time I worked there about 7 years. The ski hill / river floats, all that kind of stuff, voluntarily closed down for about 6 months. And, you know, I was like Colin, I was very lucky to be able to keep my job, and didn't lose out really at all on that. But yeah, definitely affected the home life quite a bit. I mean, hit close to home for sure. My fiance at the time, she was going through some health issues anyway, but yeah, that definitely affected us pretty strong. I mean, she actually had a fairly major operation right as the country locked down. I mean, I've got pictures from the hospitals in Iowa City, or at University of Iowa, where, I mean, it looks like scenes from a zombie movie, where everything's closed down. I mean, security, everyone in masks. I mean, yeah, it was tough to get through for sure. But I don't know. I guess I'm not sure how to elaborate without going into too much detail.
Yeah, I can understand too. Actually, that's what I was thinking too. It's like this zombie apocalypse sort of moment here. It comes to life.
Yeah, especially being trapped in a hospital for a week while this is happening. I mean, it was intense.
I can imagine too. And I guess, did you guys have any brushes with COVID? Were you all okay?
As far as I know, I never had it, but I mean, I'd be interested to get the antibody test just to see.
I had it twice. And I don't know, I got the vaccine and everything, but I still haven't managed to get it twice. Once was a lot worse. The second time was a lot worse than the first. The first time it sucked, but it kind of just felt like, you know, a more intense cold or kind of a lesser intense flu. The second time definitely kicked my ass. It was horrible. I was out of it for like a week, and it was really, really bad. But yeah, thankfully, other than that, no, I was never like hospitalized or anything. So thankfully I never had to go through that. But
thank God. So it's good to see you guys are doing well there too. See, good blessings to your family as well. So I do have to ask, Colin, are you a big Cleveland Browns fan, to get on a fun topic?
Yeah, I am. So I was born and raised in St. Louis, but my mom's on all her side is from Cleveland, so that's kind of I I kind of have like 3 homes. Des Moines is my home now. St. Louis is my born and raised home, and Cleveland's kind of my other home. So yeah, I was raised a Browns fan. And yes, it is as painful as it seems. But yes, I'm a big Browns fan. Although now, we've got the talent on the team we made the playoffs last year, so I've got some hope. But I've had hope before and had it crushed, so we'll see. But yeah.
So you got to keep Nick Chubb healthy because he got the running game. Yeah.
No kidding. As long as he stays healthy. That's the offense right there. But we'll see. Deshaun still needs to prove himself, but that's a hold. We could talk for hours about that.
Actually, that was 2 for 2 because I interviewed I.M. Marshall and Truth Music last week, and they're also Cleveland fans as well. So
nice.
They live close to Canton, Ohio, where the baseball, or actually, no, that's Football Hall of Fame. Sorry, Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So a good story there too. Though I guess I would say, as much as I respect Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt did deserve to win it too.
That's a point of contention. I'll always support Myles. Myles is my boy. But yes, T.J. Watt's an incredible player as well, for sure. Probably the 2 best defensive ends in the league.
As they good luck trying to block him next year. So
right.
I am a Steelers fan, but I do respect the Browns to an extent.
Did you say you're a Steelers fan?
I am a Steelers fan, yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
Hey, don't worry.
And this interview is over. No, I'm just kidding.
No, this interview is over. We're just going to cut it off right here. Actually, no, I told Marshall and JD and Marshall, those are the guys from Truth Music and I Am Marshall. And I just joked around, really. But I got respect for the Browns. And I did have the defense. Yeah. I say that. I did have the defense in my fantasy football league. So
There you go. See, we are good in that department so far.
Actually, I think they delivered my first shutout I ever had in fantasy. So
nice.
So something good comes out of it. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I guess go back into COVID a little bit too. I guess how's Des Moines these days? Did they kind of get rocked real bad? And I guess are they just slowly rebuilding?
Pretty average, I think, as far as the rest of the country. I mean, we were kind of in the middle. I mean, we closed down pretty quick like everyone else, but we definitely weren't the last ones to open back up. I mean, one good thing I can definitely say about our governor, the only good thing at least, is that at least got to open up a little bit for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think really, like, the biggest change is that, like, for a lot of one of the kind of nicknames for Des Moines, they call it the insurance capital of the Midwest. We have several like insurance and financial companies headquartered here in downtown, and like when everything shut down, all those folks worked from home. And I think it kind of like made a lot of companies reevaluate, like, do we need to be paying for all this office space? Like, when all of our employees can do their jobs and function fine from home? When all the technology, like Skype, Zoom, Teams, whatever, evolved so fast because it had to, and it made working remotely so easy to an extent. So so there's a lot of people that I know that pre-COVID were in office every day, but now they either have the option or are permanently working. Like, they never went back. So I think it's changed a little bit of the dynamic, in terms of like offices and people's jobs and things like that. I mean, I personally am still in the office most days, but I can work from home if I need to, and I think that dynamic has definitely changed. I don't really see it going back. But yeah.
Actually, honestly, the biggest thing for me is that I can't go grocery shopping after midnight anymore.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
What's up with that?
Hours change.
I'm saying, unless you were like drinking a good bit and you just wolfed out all your cupboards or something, I wasn't too sure why you would go grocery shopping at midnight.
No, second shift, get off. I mean, not many people around. Like, now, nowhere around. I mean, there's nowhere within a half hour of me where you can shop after or grocery shop after like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's the fast food places too. At least for what I've noticed. Like, I remember like a few months ago, like I was, I don't know if I know, at the concert or whatever the case may be. I was done with whatever I was doing. Like, it was only a little bit after midnight, so I was like, I was starving. I wanted to get classic McDonald's, but there was none that were like open around when they all used to be. I feel like 24 hours, but not anymore.
Yeah, even in my small town, I mean, there used to be plenty of things open 24 hours, and nothing is anymore.
Yeah.
Because out of Des Moines, I guess, what other big cities are there? Because I think everybody would just say Des Moines like the only city, and everything else is like cornfields and farms.
Pretty much that Iowa City are the only ones that you could even really consider cities, I think. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. We got a few decent towns spread out. That's about it. I mean, I think my town is, I can't be more than like 15,000, something like that. 20 tops.
Yeah, Des Moines is definitely the biggest.
I was going to say you can always get the big guys when they come to Iowa, or I guess Iowa State too, but I think more so the University of Iowa or the college football. Because we're always looking at them too. They're like giants, to be honest. So it's almost like, where are you guys coming from, to be honest, too? But I always made a joke. And because Ohio is also kind of the same way. We always said Ohio Farm Boys, or I guess Iowa too, but you guys are also known for your wrestling as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, bunch of corn-fed farm boys throw them on the football field or the wrestling mat. Yeah,
yeah. It was the only thing the hometown of me, Ezra, and Dan. Like the only thing we were known for was wrestling. That and occasional bull rider.
The rodeo, as we probably like to call it.
Yeah, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there's someone a grade or two away from me that ended up being like, I mean, he was champion for like several years, I think, and one of the big guys anyhow.
And he faded into obscurity afterwards when he got swept up into college or either the pros. It's something like that.
Well, I should remember. I just never paid attention.
We're too busy with our own lives, so that's fair. Actually, I was thinking of life, so I was hoping too. It's always a home game when Iowa's coming to town and fucking up your boyfriends.
Yeah.
Or something like that. All right. So moving on to the next one right here, I guess. First off, do you guys record your own music in one of your studios, maybe in the man cave, for instance?
No, we're lucky enough to have an amazing producer that we've worked with off and on for years. Used to be head of a studio actually in the town that I'm living in now. Now has his own setup, and he's absolutely phenomenal.
I guess, how'd you guys meet him? Was he a friend of yours from school, or was he just having a chance encounter one day?
Yeah, no, it's the studio here in town. Went to go check it out. I believe Ezra might have had dealings with them before. I can't remember for sure, but as far as me dealing with them, yeah, I was kind of meeting him as we went in to check out the studio.
Right. So I guess, do you guys bring any gear with you, or does he just have it all right there? And I guess, what gear do you guys use on stage and I guess for practice sessions?
No, as far as studio, I think we mostly just use Axe Effects, basically just bring in our instruments and that's it. Live, I recently switched over to modeling myself. I just went over to the Head Rush, mostly just because I got tired of carrying heavy amps. As much as I love a big tube amp, like it's so much easier to grab my guitar, backpack, and my monitor, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty Fender loyal. I love Fender products, and I pretty much stick with them. Most of my guitars are Fender, except for one of my main guitars is Jackson, but they're owned by Fender, so it kind of counts. And then I play on a Fender Mustang 5 half stack for live shows, and then I have some smaller Fender amps for just for practicing and things like that. But definitely either my Telecaster is probably my favorite guitar in terms of just being most versatile and just the way it feels. But yeah, I've pretty much played mostly Fenders most of my life, so I guess I'm kind of boring in that department. I don't have all the fancy effects and setup that Mark uses.
Yep, except for I'm using our bass player's Epiphone.
True.
In my defense, I was the one that originally bought it before I sold it to him.
"Quote unquote," sold it to him.
Yeah, yeah. Except it's been at my house for years.
Actually, do you guys use any wah-wah pedals or any sort of other effects to kind of make that guitar whine?
I try to keep it pretty simple, really. Mostly just the amps themselves. Personally, I use like a little bit of tube screamer just to shape, and otherwise I try to keep it pretty simple.
Yeah, I don't really use I don't use pedals at all. The Mustang 5 has it's basically a little computer in there that you can I can pretty much create whatever tone I want, and then outside of that, I don't really change much with it.
Hey, sometimes keeping it simple is really all you need.
That's right.
I only really need like 3-4 channels tops, and at least one of those channels is just a variant of the others.
Instead of just being like Knights and Saint services now, keep it simple. Keep it short and simple or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I used to mess around with a pretty gigantic pedal board, but yeah, too much stuff to go wrong.
That's fair enough too. I forgot to ask this earlier, I guess. So who really introduced you guys to music too? Was it a family member of yours or mom and dad?
For me, I mean, like, yeah, probably my dad. My dad was always, or has always been into rock and roll. He's a big classic rock guy. So he whenever he was working in the basement or doing whatever, he'd always have the Who and Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff blaring. So I kind of got into rock just in general that way. But I would say a lot of my interest in and passion for like hard rock and metal was kind of self-found. I mean, I would say that the where I really got where the switch flipped, so to speak, was when I first discovered Black Sabbath. I started listening to them and was like, "Oh shit, this is." Or I don't know if I can curse on this. So apologies.
Blagged.
I don't want to demonetize.
You're good.
Whatever. Okay.
All right, we're keeping the kids away. So we're
okay. Put the explicit label on it. But yeah, so once I discovered Black Sabbath, that really kind of sparked like an interest in metal and things like that. Got into Metallica, and after that, of course, like everyone says Metallica. But yeah, I would say my dad definitely kind of laid the foundation for me being into rock and roll, especially when all like my peers in like middle school and high school were into like rap and pop and stuff. I was over there listening to music from the 70s, but I appreciate it now.
I'll say you do strike me as a Pantera guy, to be honest.
Pantera,
yeah,
love Pantera. I just saw them open for Metallica last November. It was freaking fantastic.
We'll come back to that in just a second. But Mark, I guess who introduced you to music?
Almost the exact same story, except for my mom. It was really got me. We were always listening to CCR and the Who and just you name it. But as far as like the metal though, for me it was my brother. Like heard a little bit here and there with him, and I started getting a little bit interested in metal before that, just from like MTV and occasionally seeing like Tool or something to strike my interest. But eventually he gave me the first Slipknot album, and I was obsessed with nu metal from there on out. I mean, to this day, that's the one genre I always go back to.
I do admit those first 2 albums from Slipknot, man, that was something else too.
Oh, well, even the old Matefield Cure Repeat is still one of the craziest albums I've ever listened to, like disco metal. That's the only way I can describe it.
I can imagine that's probably an odd blend, but actually I was going to say the song Scissors, that one always freaked me out for some reason. So I have no idea what it's about either, but man, it changes from like that hard in your face metal, and then it's like, oh man,
wow.
It's like it's a psychedelic experience. Yeah,
I think that's a big reason why I got so big into the contrast, like contrasting vibes, and eventually mixing genres and all that. Like, just it's not heavy until you have that quiet to balance it out. I don't know.
That's it. Yeah. And Colin, I know you mentioned about Pantera opening up for Metallica, I guess a while back. But I guess, what do you make of Pantera these days?
I mean, obviously, like you can't replicate, Dimebag and what they were originally. Obviously, I think whenever there's a large change like that, I mean, it's never going to be quite the same. But I don't think that necessarily means. I don't think it's a negative. I mean, hell, they're touring with Zach Wilde now. So I mean, and that's who I saw them with last November. If I got to replace a pretty good guitarist, if I can get Zach Wilde to fill that spot, I'm gonna be pretty happy with that. I mean, he's, in my opinion, one of the best to ever live, in terms of just ability and versatility. I mean, the dude's played with so many different legends, and I mean, he fits in with all of them because he just is such a fantastic player. But no, I mean, this put on a hell of a show. I high energy. I mean, in terms of getting the crowd warmed up and amped up for a Metallica show, like they're fantastic. So yeah, I don't think they've really lost a beat. I know that some people have differing opinions, but I thoroughly enjoyed the show, and I thoroughly enjoy what they're doing nowadays.
I think the only gripe I have is just Dime and Vinny. I don't think they would approve. I mean, that's kind of a downside to it.
That's my thing. Vinny especially.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think you're right. But again, I don't know. I sometimes, and I struggle with that with, like I said, my favorite band is Avenged, and they're never going to be quite the same after the Rev. One of the greatest drummers to ever live. But and they've changed quite a bit as a band. Obviously, I mean, hell, you listen to their most recent record. It's compare that to Waking the Fallen. It's like this is not the same band. I think that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it is, and it sucks. But I don't know. I tend to lean towards giving change a shot, and trying to see the. But I do agree with that.
Well, I mean, hey, it is a super group when you got Phil Anselmo, Rex Brown, Zach Wilde, and Charlie Benante on drums too. So I mean, I don't know. As much as I do appreciate what they're doing, I still think it should not have been Pantera, to be honest. So
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat myself. Like, I got mixed opinions. I love it, but let me call it something different, or
yeah. And I could see that. Sure, maybe you call it something else and you go a different direction. Because objectively, from a musical standpoint, I think it's great. But yeah, I could definitely vibe with what you're saying as a, maybe you're not quite paying homage to the original Pantera and what they were. So yeah, I could jive with that.
It would be a question I would like to ask Phil one of these days, but I feel like he's doing it for some sort of redemption, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does.
So, I don't know. I'll have to see what happens. But it would be nice to get Phil and Sam on here one of these days. So we'll see what happens.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good boost in the podcast.
Do we get to ask you questions ever on this, or am I breaking the rules?
Not yet. That will come a little bit later.
Okay, I do. Okay, because I thought of a question for you. Okay.
All right. I'm going to say hold it. Well, we still got a little bit here, but I guess.
Okay.
So I know you guys mentioned about how you guys kind of share responsibilities in this group here. So I guess tell us your process of like how you guys create a song. You guys like maybe put something together, maybe also the lyrics too, and then go to the studio and see what you can do.
It kind of varies a lot. I mean, usually it starts with a vibe or a riff, but God, that's what I love about this band. Every single one of us has brought something that sparked a song. Whether it be some vocals from Ezra, or a riff from one of the two of us, or Dan, or even Steve coming up with that. Maybe just start screwing around the drums and we join in. Next thing you know, we've just wrote a song.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think we necessarily have like a formula or a process or a structure, and that's, I mean, again, one of the things I like about it is like we don't have that. Like things evolve naturally. A lot of times, I mean, Mark is such a good writer, like a riff writer, in terms of like getting the main riffs and the bones of a song, and so a lot of our songs evolve from that. Sometimes it's just Steve starts playing something and we all just kind of do. There's a lot of improvisation, so that's why I feel like the how do I want to say this? Like the idea of the song kind of comes together relatively quickly with us, but then every time we play, we change things up, we do it differently, we improv things. So like the finalization of what it is what takes the longest, because I think we all kind of have a little bit of music ADD or something.
Yeah.
Where, like,
I like to say they evolve.
Yeah, yeah. I love the way this solo is this week, but next week I hate it and want to rip it apart, and But that's the creative process, right? I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the fact that each and every one of us does it too, like we're all in that same kind of mindset.
I was going to think of something with evolution. I was going to say maybe natural musical evolution. There we go.
Yeah, they say we had to fine tune them as we go.
The universe is infinitely fine tuned for this band. So,
right.
Yeah, I get to. So, I guess in terms of the lyrics too, I guess what do you guys normally like to write about too?
I would say that, I mean, the majority of the lyrics probably come from Ezra. I mean, he is like constantly writing. I feel like he writes from his experience and from his feel. I mean, like I genuinely think his phone is full of lyrics because he's constantly like, when he goes through something in his life or experiences something, I think that's his outlet. I don't think that is his outlet. I mean, that's how he gets it out. So I mean, he's got a lot of lyrics written. So from a lyric standpoint, I think that primarily comes from. I mean, I don't. There's not a single lyric of this band that I've written.
Yeah,
I kind of stay in my lane in that department.
He's probably got more material than all of us combined.
Yeah.
I guess I know you were talking about how you guys kind of share lyrics too, but I guess does he like mainly write the song first? And it's like, oh, maybe we could change this here and there because I got a cool riff that I think the lyrics there will thing. Is that kind of how it works?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, we all, if anything, we maybe focus on our own stuff a little too much sometimes, but honestly, things will change. We have to we'll ask each other how something, how we felt about that version of it, and none of us noticed because we were all doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, like, we'll write the music and be just jamming the music, and he'll kind of find the lyrics that he's written that he feels fits the best, and then change it if need be to kind of fit what we're doing, and then it kind of just evolves from there.
I see. So I guess you guys can probably elaborate, I guess, in terms of challenges. So I guess what challenges do you all face today being musicians? Is it more so time constraints, or is it a little bit of everything when it comes to being a musician?
Time constraint. That's the biggest thing. For the most part, we're all busy guys. I mean, I'm probably the only one, or I'm the only one in the job or in the band that doesn't have like a normal job, deliver pizzas. But everyone, just trying to figure out what days we can get together is probably the biggest problem.
Yeah, I would echo that completely. I mean, would I love to quit my job and just do this? Absolutely, it's the dream, right? But we're not quite there yet.
Well, one hope. Actually, I was talking with one musician. I don't know. Do you guys know the death metal band Nile?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually talked with one of the musicians the other day. It was Dallas Toller Wade, who was originally from Nile as part of Narcotic Wasteland. And I asked him what he thought about it. And he says it's a straight up robbery with what Spotify and what those streaming channels are doing, because you're not even making a penny. And I was even doing the math. If you could just change it to a dime for per stream, it's a big difference.
No, for sure. That's 100%. I mean, you don't, the money's not in record sales anymore. It's in touring, it's in merch sales, it's in, if you can be lucky enough to get endorsement deals and things like that. I mean, that's how you make money. It's not, I remember back in the days when, on Tuesdays would be when new records came out, and you'd getting all your new music on Tuesdays, actually buying it, and that's just a thing of the past. Everything's released on Spotify and is instantly accessible. So yeah, for sure, it's definitely hurting.
Definitely double-edged sword. I mean, on the one hand, it's easier than ever to find all this esoteric, just random, weird music out there, but no one's making any money.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're a pizza delivery. I guess you get people with giving you odd looks when they're seeing the little dreads hanging from the chin.
I'd say I braid it up and make it look a little bit more professional anyhow. That and I stay on the hot side of the oven.
Hot side of the oven. Actually, I like that too. Actually, I wanted to say it's like inverse dreads instead of like on the head now. It's all coming from the chin.
I used to have the full dreads, but I find 4 is a lot easier to take care of than 90 or whatever it was before. But, yeah.
Actually, it was kind of reminded me like how Chris Barnes or who's the singer for Shadows Fall? Because I think he had like the longest ones.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing him close to 20 years ago now, and him just dragging his dreads across the stage in Ames.
It's freaky, but all right. But I guess for the next one right here, first off, are you guys on the social media group on Facebook, Band Together?
I don't think so.
I'm not familiar with that.
I'd say you guys are welcome to join because we actually have a bunch of indie musicians all around the world who come on there and they support each other.
Nice.
So I guess for this question here, I guess what sort of advice would you give to musicians who are perhaps up and coming or perhaps in a similar situation like you guys?
Other than don't quit, keep doing it. I mean, persistence is about the only way you can really get your name out there. I mean, other than sinking a shit ton of money into it. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't know that I'm in a position to give advice, but I think the one thing I would say is like, yeah, along the same lines, don't get discouraged. I think every band at some point in their careers played to a crowd of just the other band members of the show, you know, and it sucks at the time. It's like, oh, geez, what am I doing? But you know, that's part of it. For everyone, you know, you go through those, and you have the ones where they're, you know, it's packed to the brim and the energy's great, and you get there. So I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, I know it's a cliche saying don't give up, but I mean, if you love it, that's what's important. I mean, and if you do love it, the rest will come.
All I know is I'm miserable without it.
Can't live without music, that's for sure. So
For sure.
yeah, I've always understood too. I know it's a cliche sort of topic, but I mean, like, I think a couple of the interviews I have done, like in the past ones, it was always like, look, you're gonna get your ass kicked a lot in this sort of industry because you're probably not getting as much streams as you think it is. You're probably going to struggle to make $1.
Yeah.
So it's easy to give up. I mean,
you can't be in it for the money.
No.
Well, you'd hopefully it would be nice to eventually pay the gas bill.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah,
that'd be one thing. The pay the gas bill, that's the objective. So,
right.
I can see what you're saying. So, all right. Well, briefs for questions are pretty good. So I guess let's jump into the fun ones, and then we can get to any questions you guys have for me. So y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. So Colin, here, you can start with this one. I guess what would you consider is your favorite food?
My favorite food, chicken wings. I know it's a very basic answer, but I love buffalo wings. I could have buffalo wings like on the real ones. I mean, I boneless is fine too every once in a while, but I like the actual, like, I know you got to clarify these days, the actual bone in, whether they're fried and tossed in buffalo sauce or we've some, believe it or not, we have some really, really solid barbecue joints here in Des Moines that make some fantastic smoked wings. So I'm a huge chicken wings guy.
I guess Mark, go ahead, and then I have a little joke for Colin in terms of the barbecue joints. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. In general, anything Japanese, but right now I'm planning to hopefully if I can get up early enough tomorrow and go out and do some foraging. I'm really looking forward to my favorite meal of the year: fried morels, fried dandelion heads, and sautéed hosta sprouts. You know, it's delicious.
I'll say, man, that sounds more like a dinner. This is actually a breakfast course.
Well, not me to go get them. I gotta go out in the woods and do some hunting.
I guess why not Walmart? Or in this case, we don't need no Walmart. We got a Walmart right in the backyard, right there.
Yeah, I definitely can't afford morels. That's for sure.
That's true. Yeah, especially with inflation these days. Nonetheless,
it's crazy how expensive they are.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess, Colin, I know you mentioned about barbecue joints in around Des Moines. So I guess which one's like the best one to go to?
Oh man, so I'd have to I, I have to pick two. I can't just because they're tied for two. So one is it's called Jethro's. There's several throughout the metro. And they're all the kind of cool thing is they each focus on like a different one. Like one's like steak. It's like more of a steak focus. There's one that's more of like a jambalaya kind of southern focused. There's ones like they have a bunch of fun like bacon things, but they have like their core menus that each one has, and then they have like specialty ones that you can only get at certain locations. And they're kind of one that does like everything well. They have really good smoked wings, really good ribs, and then just just really big menu. So that would be, but that's a pretty. I mean, they're pretty popular. My other one is a place called Whatcha Smokin'. It's in a little town called Luther, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, just off of a road, just surrounded by cornfields. But the best brisket I've ever had in my entire life is there, bar none. So if you want good brisket, it's Whatcha Smokin' for sure.
Yeah, incredible meats. Just don't try their sauces.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess why was it a kind of a bad blend or something?
I mean, I'm not a huge barbecue sauce guy myself, but everybody I've ever taken there has hated their sauces.
Are you talking about Jethro's or Whatcha Smokin'?
No, what you smoking?
Yeah,
their meat's incredible. I mean, you can't get better smoked meat than that.
Right. And that's my whole thing is like whenever I'm eating barbecue, like whether it's ribs or whether it's brisket, like I probably never had their sauce. I never use sauce because I'm of the opinion like if you're proud of your meat and what you're smoking, like you shouldn't need to smother it in sauce, for some things. But so I typically, don't do the sauces.
Same.
I feel like we have to thank Memphis for being the barbecue capital of the world, if that's what we want to say, and spread its influence all throughout.
I don't know. I do love a good St. Louis barbecue.
I was gonna say, hey man, St. Louis can give them run for their money too. We got some good barbecue down there too.
Since I'm from Pittsburgh though, I like to say, I can't necessarily say because everyone's got their own sort of barbecue here. They mix it in and out because obviously you get like barbecue ribs here and there. So I'll have to look on that. So I'll try to get back to you and say which one's the best barbecue joint out of Steel City. So
all right.
I had to do that. Where'd they get the name? What You Smoking? Because it seems like that could be also a place where people go smoke weed or something.
Yeah, it's a fun name.
Not in Iowa.
Yeah, well, not yet at least. Yeah,
we're still working that way. Hopefully, eventually.
They did What You Smoking this past year because I don't know if you're familiar. Like the Iowa State Fair is like, I mean, massive. It's this huge ordeal. It's just really big. People come from all over for it, and they always have like local vendors do like specialty foods and have competitions. And this past year, What You Smoking did this like it was a jalapeno that was stuffed with like pulled pork, brisket, cream cheese, wrapped in bacon, and then had like a rub and like a sauce drizzled. And you shake your head because yes, you should shake your head because that's absurd. But oh my god, it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious.
I was say they put it on a stick and call it a heart attack on a stick.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's for those people who just want to say one time.
Yeah, you can't eat it all the time, but every once in a while.
It's what the Iowa State Fair is for.
Exactly.
And before we do move on to the next question here, shout out to Caitlin Clark from University of Iowa. Looks like she's been lighting up for you guys.
Yeah, legend.
I don't know, I'm an ISU guy.
I do like the Cyclones from time to time. They've been like the team that would like do the upsets. Like no one expects them to do win the game, and they end up upsetting the team. So huge props to Iowa State, by the way. So, and I guess here, let's move on to the next one. What would you consider as your favorite movie, Mark?
Ooh, Donnie Darko. Like it's one movie I can watch 100 times and get something different out of it every time. I like weird stuff. But nothing unless it's a good old Talladega Nights or something.
Let's go ahead and call it.
I would probably have to say Borat. I know that's kind of a dumb cop-out answer, but that's a movie that I can put on no matter how many times I've seen it, no matter what mood I'm in, and it will change my mood and it will make me laugh, and I will enjoy my time. I love that movie.
Well, the second one kind of made more fun of like the U.S. in general, I guess, mainly during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm not too sure, but I know. I think the story was with the second one. I think he legitimately got up to Mike Pence and just he got into an uncomfortable situation, but that was legit. That was
a lot of that stuff was it's legit, and I think it was with the mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani too. He had a run-in that I think was pretty legit.
Yeah, he's got balls of steel, so I'll give him that too. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. So, and first off, do you guys drink any alcohol from time to time?
Every once in a while.
Yes, sir.
Normally, I like to ask because some interviews I've had people who've abused alcohol and they kind of had to claw themselves up, or they've got to the point where they were able to drink moderately now. So,
sure.
For this question here, I guess, what would you consider as your favorite alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink? We'll start with Colin this time.
So I'd say my favorite alcoholic drink is I'll give a shout out to, there's a local distillery here called Cedar Ridge. So I love whiskey, and they make a really good whiskey. They have several different varieties, but so if I'm just going for a solid alcoholic drink, I would say just a good whiskey. If I'm drinking beer, I mean, you come on, we're from Iowa. It's Busch Light. I know I can't speak for Mark, but I like Busch Light. And then a favorite non-alcoholic drink. That's a good question. I mean, I again, this is such a friggin' cliche Iowa thing, but like a solid fresh squeezed lemonade, like at the state fair, like you get a good lemonade, like where it's constant with lemons in it, like on a hot day, you can't beat it.
Go back to the old traditional lemonade stands.
Hey,
look a nice little girly.
It's what's good is good, right?
Whatever floats your boat. So
yeah.
I guess Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, the non-alcoholic one's a tough one. I mean, I'm mostly a water drinker myself, but yeah, no. As far as booze is concerned, I'm definitely more of a whiskey guy, but I do love a good White Russian. Like that's probably my go-to.
They at least put it in a cup.
I would say the dude abides. I mean, can't love a good White Russian.
No, I just forget what it was a White Russian without a cup, and that was actually something that the Penguins would normally do because they were making fun of the Capitals for not winning a Stanley Cup for a while. So that's why I brought it up right there. So I was just trying to think too, because actually you were talking about Busch Light earlier, Colin. I guess is that where they're headquartered?
It's not where they're headquartered. They're headquartered in St. Louis, but I think there's some like stat where like the state of Iowa consumes the most Busch Light of anywhere in the nation or something. It's just like it's super popular here for whatever reason. So yeah, that's why.
Never understood that. Like, I don't want to get drunk, but I do want a hangover.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
We can't do one or the other. So I mean, you have to do 1 + 1 = 2. So actually, this one here is kind of out of the blue. But I guess is there a lot of distilleries and I guess a lot of breweries in around Iowa, or more so like close to cities?
A lot of microbreweries popping up. I mean, my little town's got several.
Yeah, there's some great breweries in Des Moines that do a lot of good, really, really solid, seasonal brews and things like that. And they're also like a lot of them are just really good like spots to go, like in terms of like if you want to go out and have a drink, like a lot of them have nice like tap rooms or patios and things like that. So I would say the craft beer scene here is pretty solid in terms of distilleries. The only one that I am really aware of outside of Templeton Rye is Cedar Ridge, but I'm not saying there's not other ones. I just haven't discovered them.
And surprising amount of wineries too, actually.
Yeah. I got to make do with the space you got there too, so that makes sense. Actually, the reason I kept bringing it up is because I've never been to Des Moines. I've always flown like over the Midwest because I've been to Arizona. I think I was in Washington briefly, but I think it was just because I needed to get to Vancouver. And I was just curious because I think my dad might have driven through it the one time because he used to talk about a long car ride. And he had pictures. This might have been back in the 70s or something too, but he went with a couple of friends and some family members. They literally took this long drive in around the states. Not like every single state, but I want to say it was like partially Route 66 or something. I'm not too sure, but they went through like the Panhandle and he went through some of the Dakotas. He might have went through Des Moines. So
it was a long and lonesome road east of Omaha. That's us.
at least they're not as flat as Nebraska is, because I just see a nice little stretch. I think after Lincoln or Omaha, one of the two, and it just goes straight.
Nebraska is
It's brutal.
arguably the worst state to drive through, just because it's nothing but the exact same thing.
Mhm.
I mean, it feels like it's 3 times as long as it is.
Yeah.
Do tell. All right.
Oh.
And for the last one, Mark, what would you say is currently your favorite song, or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
Hard to say. I've been gonna get into Hannibal quite a bit too, but actually, I had pretty much anything from Angel Vivaldi. I've been getting into a lot of that prog-esque instrumental. That was it. Our dogs were astronauts, and what was the other big one I've been listening to a lot lately? Walking Across Jupiter. Like anything from those 3 bands or people is just incredible.
How high do you think they probably were when they picked the name "Our Dogs Are Astronauts"?
Oh, I had to listen to them just for the name and just fell in love with them immediately. And if I'm not mistaken, too, I believe that's just essentially a one-man band too. Like, you might have hired a few guys here and there, but I'm pretty sure that's just one guy out of which one was that? Somewhere, it's either Europe or Russia. I always get Walking on Jupiter and that one mixed up. One's out of Russia, one's out of I want to say Eastern Europe, or I'd have to look into it. But yeah.
Refresh your history. All right. And Colin, what would you say is currently your favorite song, or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
So I've been listening to a lot of. They're actually a band out of, I think, North Dakota that we'll be playing with in August. They're called Perfectly Still. I really got into them. I just discovered them because we're going to be able to open for them when they come through. But there's a song called House of Rust by Perfectly Still that I really enjoyed. I'm super pumped to get to meet those guys, and we might be able to play actually a couple shows with them when they come through Iowa. Which should be awesome. So, but otherwise, I've still been jamming the. I know people can be like, wow, this guy's just a stand for Avenged, but Avenged Sevenfold's new record, just because I think it's so different, and it's taken me quite a while to kind of digest all the different parts of it. But that I spent a lot of time just kind of listening to that and kind of unpacking all the different things they did with that, because they really did go quite a different direction than what they've done in the past. But it's become kind of a polarizing one, because a lot of people don't like it, and I completely get it if it's not your cup of tea. But I think there's a lot of cool things in it as well. So
Yes, things never were the same after the Rev had tragically passed away.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. There's so much more. There's a lot of instrumentation. I mean, I think Sinister Gates their lead guitarist is a really good piano player, and there's a lot of really cool piano work in it as well. It's definitely not like a hardcore album or a super aggressive metal album, but again, there's also some pretty heavy parts to it as well. So,
well, we'll see where it goes. Obviously, was it more so because the Rev wasn't there, or I guess what was kind of the big gripe people were having about the album?
I don't think it was necessarily because the Rev wasn't there, because this is their third full album without the Rev, because Nightmare had him on it. It was partially him, partially not. But and then Hail to the King, the stage, and then this one was all fully without him. So I don't think it was necessarily that as much as it was there was a lot of non-metal elements to it. There was like I said, a lot of piano work. There was some kind of almost like electronic parts to it, a little bit of poppiness kind of on some of it. It's just different. It's just not like, again, if you compare it to some of their other work, it's just it goes a completely different direction. there's even a little bit of like psychedelic aspects to it, but I think that was really the people that were just true blue. I want heavy riffs and metal. It's not that throughout the entirety of it, but I think there's a lot to it.
I think all that remains always got that same sort of gripiness as well. That makes sense because we went from the Fall of Ideals, or maybe it's Dark and Hard, I guess any of their older stuff was a lot more of the metal with the growls, the screams, and all that stuff. And you start doing a lot more clean vocals. So it seems like when you really change your sound, that's when you get a lot of the complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people have the same reaction to City of Evil when it came out, because you went from Sounding the Seventh Trumpet and Waking the Fallen, which was true. I mean, it was metalcore and it was mostly screaming, to this very heavily produced, several track on every song, all clean vocal album that was just quite a departure.
Well, I'll just see what happens. But for some of the musicians that we did mention in this interview too, so rest in peace to Paul Gray, Joey Jordison, The Rev, Dimebag, and Vinnie Paul. So rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so Mark and Colin, we're down to one more question, and now we finally get into the part where you guys ask me some questions. So, Colin, did you keep that question still locked in?
Yep.
All right, what you got?
So the one that the first one I thought of was, since you've started this podcast, who is the quote unquote biggest or most popular artist you've interviewed? And then the second part to that is who was your favorite interview?
Ooh, that's definitely a new one. So, well, the biggest one right now, and hopefully he gives me the thumbs up to post it on my socials, is, as I mentioned earlier, Dallas Toller Wade from Nile. Now he's part of Narcotic Wasteland.
Nice.
And I mean, that one, it was a shot in the dark, to be honest, too, because I figured, I'll leave him alone, see what happens. If he doesn't respond, oh well, it was more of a shot. But he did respond, and after some jumping around, to be honest, because it was not an easy thing to get done. Plus, he was a good talker, I'll tell you that much. He talked up a storm, and we talked almost 2.5 hours, to be honest. So
that's awesome.
So that one was my biggest one. And the second one was, which one was the biggest one?
Which one was your favorite?
Favorite? That's a good question, because each one's been unique in their own way too. Sometimes you get people who are like good talkers, they know how to talk up a storm and everything too. Interesting folks, because really they are pretty much in the same boat as you guys. They're middle class people. They got a regular job on top of like doing some sort of music wise, whether it's on YouTube or whether they are like part of a band or just doing a solo project or whatever. So I say the first one that comes to mind, and I collaborated with him a couple of times, has been Storm Kingdom, aka Justin Whole 40. And it was interesting because he actually did it right out of his car, and he lives in Florida too.
I almost did that.
Probably would have been better than the Jerry Seinfeld sort of background you're dealing with there. So
technically, if you notice, it's backwards. It's actually the Bizarro Seinfeld set. Just to be,
Oh, is that what it is? Fair enough.
Door's on the wrong side.
But actually, his was definitely interesting too, because he actually met, because he was part of some groups and he's met some pretty big names. Like one of them was Morbid Angel. It was one of those like Wayne's World sort of moments, be like, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. So
yeah, we had that opening up for Drowning Pool last year.
Yeah.
Too bad that wasn't the initial. Who was the first one? The lead singer for Drowning Pool, who had tragically passed.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! Normally I could. I'll tip my tongue too. I feel ashamed that I can't think of his name immediately.
Well, that first album was right.
Yeah.
That was the apex Drowning Pool, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool for me too, because like I love Drowning Pool, but I was arguably a bigger fan of Saliva, so it was a kind of a double whammy for me.
Yeah, that's for sure. Actually, I remember the first time hearing Bodies on the radio. I think me and my dad were actually just driving. We were almost home too. We're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Dave Williams, by the way.
Dave Williams.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4.
It was almost like There's always some sort of sound effect too, because it was like, what? It was almost like a little bit of the mix of the hard rap and stuff.
Yeah.
So, he was a great guy though too. I kind of wish he was still with us. So
Indeed.
I guess
I have another one if you're ready.
yeah, go ahead.
As someone from Pennsylvania, I have to ask, and maybe this isn't your neck of the woods. What the hell, or maybe why the hell is Altoona style pizza?
You mean like in terms of like how it's like is it like a deep dish? Cause
Why is it a thing? It just looks so weird and gross. I don't understand why it's.
I've never even heard of it.
well, I mean, I wish I could tell you. I mean, I've driven through Altoona a couple times, but I've never stopped to actually try it, to be honest, too.
Okay.
So, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, it's just a social media thing. I mean, people just do shit. That's just it.
Okay. That's why, because I only heard about it like through social media when I saw pictures of it. I was like, it looks like they took like Kraft singles and just put them on top of a deep dish pizza. And I was just like, what is happening over there? But so I was curious if that was maybe. I guess that's not really. Okay, maybe it hasn't made its way to Pittsburgh.
I don't know about that, so I unfortunately can't tell you that much. I just stick with your standard meals. And actually, the other day, because we talked about fast food, I actually got a couple of croissants at Burger King the other day. So got to enjoy that and kicked off my morning.
Breakfast.
Yeah, kicked off my morning in the right direction. So,
there you go. There you go.
I guess, Mark, did you have any questions?
Honestly, not really. Nothing that Colin didn't already bring up. That's why he's usually our spokesman. If Ezra's not around, if the mouth from the south, Ezra himself isn't around, of course.
Yeah.
I got another if you're down.
Sure.
I don't want to keep you longer than you want to, but what is your like background in terms of your favorite bands, genres, and things like that?
Actually, funny enough, I Am Marshall, that I mentioned earlier, they actually challenged me to that 20-day challenge, which you put up like the covers of each of the albums that kind of inspired your music taste, for instance. So mine started off in the realms of like the heavy metal, like Metallica was definitely on the list. So, but then I got into like the classic rocks, and then a little bit of Bruce Springsteen, Vertical Horizon, Three Doors Down, those sorts of groups. I was kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. And then a friend of mine in middle school introduced me to alternative music, the Story of the Year, From Mom to Ashes. And then I kind of went into my deathcore phase, again, like high school, which you could say is like the Chelsea Grins, Carnifex, like those sorts of groups.
Oh, yeah.
So I should say like fully Carnifex, but I listened to some, yeah. So,
okay.
I found death metal quite by accident, too, which happened to be the band Dying Fetus. So
Love it. That was a big one for me too.
It was actually, and I actually put that on Facebook. It was Homicidal Retribution was the one that sold me into it, and it was War of Attrition was the album.
Nice.
And since then, I think kind of expanded my death metal influences. Got to like some of the bands like Nile, Between the Buried and Me. So yeah, Misery Index, Bolt Thrower, and Napalm Death.
Oh, nice.
Then of course you get like all the big names really. Like DSI, Morbid Angel, Malevolent Creation, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Immolation, Incantation. You name it, for the most part. So, and here we are. The rest is history.
Cool.
Love it. Love it.
All right. I guess anything else before we go to the order?
Yeah, depending on when this is going out, opening it for Flaw on May 11th. Right? 11th? I think that's it. I don't know.
Yes.
My memory sucks.
Yes.
I don't know. Check out the Facebook. It's all on there.
Yeah, give us a follow on Facebook at Balefire DSM.
Yeah, sounds good. And I guess before we jump into the final question, do you guys got any music promotions or any, I don't want to say tours because I don't think you're like going to various states. I guess any shows?
Yeah,
just we have the Flaw one on May 11th, and then like I said, we'll be hooking up with Perfectly Still in August, and then we're currently working on recording a bunch of new music that we're trying to release here as soon as we can. But definitely give us a follow on Facebook for all the latest news, and every once in a while we like to go live and play some music and do that whole thing.
Yeah. Then a couple of shows we're working on too, but yeah, all that'll be announced as it comes. So
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds good. All right. So Colin and Mark, we're down to one more question right here. So you might have harped on this a little bit too, but here's how it goes. So, and Mark, you can go first. But given what COVID has done, obviously it seems like you guys have been blessed in some sort of way. But for those who've been impacted by COVID, perhaps in a very detrimental sort of way or whatever, or perhaps they were impacted by something else, what sort of message of hope would you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world?
I mean, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, but I just keep going one day at a time. It's about the only advice I could give anybody. I mean, it's been a real big example of you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, just do what you love, keep going. I mean, other than that, I don't really see. I don't know. That's about it, I guess.
Sure, it's way to the point. All right. But Colin, go ahead.
Music is expression of self, right? I mean, it's an art that allows us to express a lot of different things and a lot of heavy things, and share that with a lot of people. So I think that, that my, I guess, message of hope is that there's other people out there that are going through the same stuff that you are, or that have been through the same stuff that you are. And there's always people in your life that will be there to help you, and a lot of that can manifest itself through art and through music. I think that at the end of the day, nothing can take that away, and there's always going to be that's always going to be something that's going to be there. And so I would just, like, I kind of, not to make a weird ironic drawback, but like I said with, my favorite movie being Borat, that I can put it on whenever and it always kind of ups my mood. There's so many examples of that in music too, that like sometimes, the world sucks and you have a shitty day, but like if you can just put on headphones, immerse yourself in music or even in a movie, that's a true escape that can never really be, bars and bowling alleys or whatever else can be shut down, can close, can whatever, but that never closes. And I think that's something that's important to me personally. I think that's something that should be, valued for a lot of people.
Everybody needs their passion.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs some sort of passion and some sort of capacity. So
yeah,
and spoke like a bunch of true prodigies. All right. So Colin and Mark, we've reached the end of my podcast right here, and boy, oh boy, we almost talked for almost an hour and 30 minutes. So actually,
awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. This was great.
No worries. Actually, I was a little worried because I thought we were actually getting close to a bad thunderstorm out in my neck of the woods. Oh. So that's why I think I was talking with Colin about it.
Yeah, we just had tornadoes just south of where I'm at. In fact, one touchdown maybe 15 miles from here, heading directly our way, but broke up, luckily.
Yeah, we had some nasty weather too. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that's another downside is flat territories with a good amount of dust everywhere. So
yeah,
I can see why. But I guess, did you guys have any final words, any shouts you want to give to your fans or anything before we close?
Yeah, for me, nothing other than just thank you, to you, to our fans, to just anybody that makes this possible. I mean, I love playing music. I love getting up on stage. Thanks to anybody that has anything to do with that.
Absolutely. Thanks for supporting local music. Keep going to shows. It's the best way to do it.
Indeed.
And go Browns.
And go Browns, baby.
Good luck this year. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Cool. But I guess before we do wrap up, can you guys just mention what social media you're on and streaming platforms so people can check you out and check out your music?
Absolutely. You can follow us on Facebook. Like I said, at Balefire DSM. That's primarily where we post most of our updates, and that's where we're the most active. And then we have some music on Spotify and YouTube, and more will be coming soon. So just search Balefire, and you'll find us there. we in terms of seeing us live, like we said, we're mostly in the central Iowa region, but we're definitely not drawing the line there. We'd love to get out and play in farther corners of the country too. So that's the goal.
Hopefully your GPS doesn't take you out to the middle of a cornfield. So
Well, we're used to that.
We thrive there.
I literally had a debate when I was looking for colleges the one time going out to Ohio. So
it happens.
Oh my gosh. Well, whatever. All right. So everyone, I guess today we're Colin and Mark from Des Moines, Iowa. They're part of the group Balefire. So go check them out on the socials. Go hit them up on streaming platforms. Go support the music. And if you guys see these guys in your neck of the woods, go check them out. Go support local artists and indie musicians. So Colin and Mark, you all stay safe. Legitly this time, because I know you talked about tornadoes there. So you all stay safe. Rock on.
Indeed.
Stay tuned, y'all.